Hello, welcome to my latest quiz. Today we'll have 7 quiz questions on medieval kings of England. Each question will be followed by an answer with a brief explanation. Now, I understand some viewers don't like the explanations, but I'll vary my formats of quizzes. So, some quizzes that you'll see on this channel will be quicker but have more questions, whilst others, like this one, will have less questions but more detailed answers. I'll try and cater to everybody's wants, as I know these quizzes are relatively popular. Now, let's begin. Question 1. According to William of Malmesbury, which English king had a fear of candles? Was it A. Edmund Ironside, B. Athelred the Unready, C. Alfred the Great, or D. Athelstan? The answer is B. Athelred the Unready. After Athelred's half-brother, King Edward the Martyr, was murdered in 978, 12-year-old Athelred wept bitterly when he heard the news, despite the fact he would now become King of England. His mother, Elfrida, who likely ordered the murder of Edward, was furious at her son's behaviour and beat him ferociously with some candles that were close to hand until Athelred was left nearly lifeless. Unsurprisingly, Athelred developed a fear of candles thereafter, but it must be noted that some of William of Malmesbury's stories regarding Athelred are dubious at best, so take this story with a pinch of salt. Question 2. Which King of England survived the Windsor Plot, otherwise known as the Epiphany Rising? Was it A. Henry I? Was it B. Henry II? Was it C. Henry III? Or D. Henry IV? The answer is D. Henry IV. Henry had only been on the throne a matter of months when in January 1400 a group of nobles conspired to have the new king and his family murdered at Windsor Castle and restore the deposed but still alive Richard II to the throne. The plot failed as Henry got wind of it just in time, and the leaders, as well as Richard II, were put to death. Question 3. Which King of England is Dominic Mancini describing here? Being most immoderate in food and drink caused the king to grow fat around the loins. Was it A. Henry VIII, B. Edward IV, C. Richard III, or D. Henry VI? The answer is B. Edward IV. Edward drew widespread criticism for his lack of moderation when it came to food, drink, and women, which would have dire consequences for his health, culminating in a premature death aged only 40 in 1483. Question 4. The following quotes are from a list of accusations that were levelled by Parliament against which medieval King of England? By his cruelty and lack of character, he has shown himself incorrigible without any hope of amendment, because the king is incompetent to govern in person, for throughout the reign he has been controlled and governed by others who have given him evil counsel. Is it A. Edward II, B. Richard II, C. Henry VI, or D. John? The answer is A. Edward II. These quotes are from the Articles of Accusations, a list of 6 grievances held against Edward II, which served to formalise the king's official deposition in January 1327 in Parliament. Question 5. Who was Harold II referring to when he allegedly said the following? I will give him 7 feet of English ground, or as much more as he may be taller than other men? Was it A. Duke William of Normandy, B. Edgar Atheling, C. Harold Hardrada, or D. Tostig Godwinson? The answer is C. Harold Hardrada. Harold II was responding to his impertinent brother Tostig Godwinson, who would ally himself with Hardrada, the King of Norway. The quote, of course, refers to Hardrada's extraordinary size. Question 6. Which King of England defeated Louis VI of France at the Battle of Brognieux in 1119? Was it A. William the Conqueror, B. William II, was it C. Henry I, or was it D. King Stephen? The answer is C. Henry I. Henry's victory saw him defend his lands in Normandy, which he had forcibly taken off his brother Robert Curthose in 1106. Orderic Vitalis describes the Battle of Brognieux itself. I have been told that in the Battle of the Two Kings, in which about 900 knights were engaged, only 3 were killed. They were all clad in mail, and spared each other on both sides, out of fear of God, and fellowship in arms. They were more concerned to capture than to kill the fugitives. Question 7. Which early English king had to fight off a rebellion early in his reign by his cousin Athelwold? Was it A. Alfred the Great, B. Edward the Elder, C. Athelstan, or D. Edmund I the Magnificent? The answer is B. Edward the Elder. Edward's father, Alfred the Great, died in 899, but Edward would have to fight off a rival, Athelwold, to secure the crown. Athelwold had been only a small child when his own father, Athelred I, died in 871, and so Athelwold was passed over for the succession of the throne of Wessex in favour of his uncle, Alfred, who was a battle-hardened prince in his 20s. But nearly 3 decades later, Athelwold was ready to try and take the crown, but thankfully he failed, as he showed himself to be a traitor who allied himself with the Vikings to try and get his own way. Athelwold died in battle in 902, whilst Edward would go on to build on his father's remarkable legacy.